To explain the kind of objects and the way they might be used, I've opened my box of props and objects and artifacts and pulled out some examples from my own work. You see the title here is Objects, Props and Distractions, because we need to remember that if we're going to include anything in storytelling, whether it's music, costume, set, props, it has to support the storytelling and not be a distraction. It needs to support people's understanding and involvement in the story. So I just put that word distractions in as a warning flag. So starting in the top left, we have Snow White. And there we have a heart, because Snow White's stepmother demands that Snow White's taken into the forest and her heart is cut out and taken back so that the Wicked Queen can eat it. So we have the heart there, and it's a toy, it's a rubber heart, and it's nice and flexible, so I can move it as well and give it some life to add to the horror of the story. And then we have here, to illustrate another aspect of the story, the three things that the wicked stepmother brings to Snow White when she's in the cottage in an attempt to kill her. The ribbons that she ties around her waist so she can't breathe, and then the next day the poisoned comb, and then finally the one that works, the apple. Then we have, for snakes and pearls, we have a couple of commercially produced toys, a rubber snake, a rubber frog, but also some jewels to represent the things that fall from the two stepsisters' lips. So for the child who is kind, then pearls and jewels fall from her lips. For the child that is cruel, snakes and frogs fall from her lips. Many pelts. Now the walnut shell will be familiar to you. And for many pelts, I use objects to illustrate not only the walnut shell, but also the jewels that she is given by her father. And for the dresses, I don't have dresses. I just have lengths of fabric that actually illustrate what I'm talking about. So there's a purple fabric with gold stars on it. There's a bright gold fabric for the sun, and there's a silver fabric for the moon. I'm going to go to the bottom right now, because this one is used in a different way. This is simply a ball of twine, and when Theseus is trying to get away out of the maze, he uses a ball of twine, and this ball is passed around the audience, so the audience become the maze themselves. So that object there is used to change the nature of the space, so the audience is in the storytelling world themselves in a physical way. Finally, I picked up on my travels this fly whisk, which is made from a lion's tail. It is the tip of a lion's tail. It's from South Africa. It's quite old. And I bought it and I use it to tell the Corsa version of The Hare and the Tortoise, in which the lion is one of the characters. And the lion tail whisk I originally bought simply as a fly whisk, because the lion is the chief, so he uses it to keep flies away from his face. But of course, in that action, it also becomes the lion's tail. So it serves two purposes. It illustrates the role of the chief, but it also helps the audience see a lion where I'm sitting and flicking this thing.